In a poor and dilapidated slum, a man lives quietly like a shadow, known as the ghost pawnbroker. His tiny pawn shop is just enough for him to scrape by, a fragile foothold in a bleak life. All day, if there's nothing urgent, he remains silent. Even if the butcher woman next door curses at him, he doesn't utter a word, enduring it like an invisible man. Living in the same building as Somi, a pitiful little girl nicknamed Trash Can, because her mother, a dancer, often vents all her frustrations on her. The man always stays away from everyone, not wanting to get involved with anyone, but a twist of fate pushes him into a situation where he has to protect Somi and rescue her from a gang of organ traffickers, a girl who isn't even related to him by blood. This rescue not only threatens his life but also pushes him to the brink of death many times. That man is Cha Tae-sik. Previously, he was an undercover agent for an international intelligence organization, having undergone harsh training that few could imagine. His mission was to track, hunt, and eliminate targets under orders from his superiors. Despite his hidden life, Cha Tae-sik had a family, a gentle wife and a daughter about to be born. He and his wife were eagerly awaiting their first daughter, believing that their family happiness would be doubled. But on one fateful day, while driving his wife to go shopping, Cha Tae-sik stopped to pick out a cute pair of shoes for his daughter. While he was standing in the store, from a distance a container truck sped towards his wife's car and crashed into it. Tae-sik hurriedly rushed out to check the situation, but before he could get close, a stranger appeared and fired a gun at him. Fortunately, his teammates arrived in time and took down the assassin. Tae-sik was only slightly injured, but when he saw the red blood flowing from his family's car, he knew that his wife and daughter were gone. It wasn't an accident but a revenge plan by those whom Tae-sik had once eliminated. Standing before this loss, Tae-sik was paralyzed with pain, realizing that fate had taken away his most loved ones, and the career he had pursued had left terrible consequences not for him but for his innocent family. After the death of his wife and child, Tae-sik disappeared without a trace. No one knew where he was. He gave up his violent past and lived in seclusion in a dilapidated rented house, quietly opening a small pawn shop to earn a living. His shop only had a few occasional customers from the surrounding poor neighborhood. In those dark days, Tae-sik was like a ghost, quietly waiting for a day to reunite with his lost family, but an unexpected encounter with the little girl Somi completely changed the rest of his life. Somi was a little girl living in deprivation and neglect. Her mother was a dancer who often went out with strange men, not caring about her at all. That not-so-good life taught Somi some survival tricks. She became clever and brave like a street child. When she didn't have to go to school, the little girl wandered through the shops in the neighborhood, taking the opportunity to steal some things when the shopkeepers weren't paying attention. Tae-sik knew about the little girl's mischief, but he didn't bother to care. He just wanted to stay away from everything, but Somi still approached him naturally, by bringing some small items to the pawn shop. Although he never showed any emotion, Tae-sik couldn't bear to refuse or turn her away. Somi's innocence and optimism gradually opened a small corner in Tae-sik's closed heart, bringing him a small ray of light in the dark night. Although unspoken, perhaps Somi's appearance had lit a small light in Tae-sik's dark life, bringing him a little warmth amidst his lonely days. Everything probably wouldn't be worth mentioning if Somi's mother hadn't gotten involved in a dangerous case, dragging both of them into the harsh vortex of the underworld. Somi's mother, Hyojong, along with her boyfriend, planned to steal 2 bags of drugs from a boss to have fun in the neighborhood, but these were not ordinary drugs. It was a brand new type of goods waiting to be traded with customers. When the boss went to the bathroom, Hyojong and her boyfriend quickly used an electric baton to stun him, then stole the drugs before he could hand them over to the buyer. When he discovered that the goods were lost, the boss went crazy and ordered his henchmen to find them at all costs, causing the whole city to be turned upside down under their relentless pursuit. In the midst of escalating tension, Hyojong had a disagreement with her boyfriend about how to split the loot. Initially, the two had agreed to share the profits at a ratio of 2/8, but after getting the goods in hand, she wanted to share equally 50-50, not accepting that her boyfriend rushed to beat her, forcing her to reveal the hiding place of the goods, but Hyojong was not someone who easily succumbed. To ensure safety, she secretly stuffed 2 bags of drugs into an old camera, then secretly took it to Tae-sik's pawn shop to send it. Unaware of the danger lurking, Tae-sik received the camera, but inadvertently he was dragged into a hunt where the line between life and death was now very thin. On the other side, the boss's henchmen were furious after the goods were stolen. Cornered, they had to search everywhere, sniffing for traces of the goods, knowing that if they didn't bring them back, they would have to pay with their lives. Not long after they discovered that the thief was Hyojong, they immediately went to her house. At the same time, Somi got into trouble. A woman and her son accused her of stealing, although Somi insisted that she did not do it. But with her past of petty theft, no one believed her. They forced her to call her mother to resolve it. In a deadlock, the little girl saw Tae-sik passing by and took a risk to recognize him as her father, hoping he would stand up to protect her, but contrary to expectations, Tae-sik quietly left. When she returned home, Somi saw a horrific scene. Her mother was beaten by the gangsters beyond recognition. They also caught her, not letting her run to call for help. Just then Tae-sik arrived, and when passing by the two mother and daughter's room, he saw the lock was cut. The leader saw him and just smiled contemptuously, and said that if he did not get out immediately, he would greet him with a knife in his hand. But in the blink of an eye, Tae-sik grabbed the knife from his hand, making everyone gape in surprise. The leader immediately called his boss, who was waiting downstairs, thinking he had succeeded. The boss did not expect someone to dare to intervene in his business, and felt extremely angry. He said that he only came here to get back what belonged to him. He declared that if he got that thing, he and his henchmen would leave immediately. Seeing them demanding the goods, Tae-sik returned to his room to get the camera that Hyojong had sent. He opened it and took out 2 bags of flour and gave them to them, hoping that they would keep their promise and release the two mother and daughter Somi. But Tae-sik underestimated their treachery. After receiving the goods, the leader not only did not release people, but also cruelly killed the one who had been defeated by Tae-sik earlier on the floor. After taking action, he coldly left a phone, looked at Tae-sik provocatively, and then they all turned away, leaving Tae-sik stunned and angry. At this time, he realized that he was not only facing evil people, but also had to face a more calculating force than he imagined. After getting the goods, they quickly escaped from the scene, taking the two mother and daughter Somi as hostages. When he heard his henchmen tell about Tae-sik, a strong and dangerous man, made the boss very curious. He decided to take advantage of the situation, forcing Tae-sik to work for him by using Somi's mother and daughter as a bargaining chip. The boss called the phone number that his henchman left, asking him to deliver a shipment to an important partner named Myungyu if he completed the mission. He promised to release Somi's mother and daughter to save Somi. He had to accept the request. They camouflaged the goods by hiding it in a toy car, but Tae-sik quickly realized this. He disassembled the toy car and found inside 2 bags of drugs, then went to the address that the boss had provided to meet Myungyu. When Tae-sik met him, the atmosphere between them was so tense that it was cold. However, before they could exchange, Myungyu received a report that the police were surrounding the building. At that moment he discovered that he had been betrayed by the boss and handed over to the police. Thinking Tae-sik was the boss's henchman, Myungyu was furious and ordered his Danem to attack Tae-sik brutally, turning him into a punching bag for them to vent their anger. After the beating, they cruelly threw him out of the window. Luckily, Tae-sik fell into a net hanging outside the building, while Myungyu was running away with his subordinates, thanks to the henchmen blocking the police. He temporarily escaped outside. He did not expect that Tae-sik was still following, determined not to let him escape. Despite the danger, Tae-sik ran up to block Myungyu's car. With no other choice, he was forced to leave the car and run away. Just in time, the police also arrived. Tae-sik, after a moment of intending to leave, suddenly stopped when he looked into the trunk of the car that was still open. The scene inside the trunk made him freeze. Hyojong was lying there. Her body was ravaged in a brutal way, revealing the ultimate cruelty of the enemy. Seeing Tae-sik near the scene, they immediately suspected that he was the culprit, so they decided to take him to the station along with Myungyu's henchmen for investigation. After conducting a body check on Tae-sik, the police were surprised not to find any criminal records related to him. There was no sign that he had ever been involved with drug traffickers or Myungyu, whom they were investigating. During interrogation, Tae-sik remained silent, not uttering a word. He maintained a mysterious and cold attitude. Inspector Kim and the police team went to the apartment of Somi's mother and daughter to look for clues, but apart from a little white powder hidden in the corner, they found nothing significant. Tae-sik's file also did not provide much information. In recent years he seemed to be living like a ghost, and the previous period was completely a mystery. To clarify Tae-sik's identity, the police sent a request to the International Security Organization, hoping to find out something about him. While waiting, Tae-sik was secretly preparing an escape plan. He pretended to be left-handed so that the police changed his handcuffs, taking advantage of the moment the police were negligent. He quickly took action. By the time Inspector Kim and his colleagues returned, Tae-sik had disappeared as if evaporated, making them unable to believe it. In another development, an old woman appeared and deliberately approached Hyojong's boyfriend. She pretended to be blind and asked him to help her read the license plate. When he just bent down, a group of gangsters suddenly rushed out to attack and kidnap him. Then they threw Somi down the curb next to the old woman. It turned out that the old woman and the gangsters were in the same group, and this was just a trap to lure Somi to their lair. At the same time, the investigators were reviewing the camera footage of Tae-sik attacking the police. In just a few seconds he had defeated each one. Tae-sik's agility and determination made everyone unable to believe their eyes. They had never witnessed anyone with such superior fighting ability. Meanwhile, at the place where Hyojong's boyfriend was being held, he was enduring brutal torture from the gangsters. They forced him to reveal his relationship with Tae-sik, suspecting that he had some useful information. However, no matter how he was beaten, he did not know who Tae-sik was. Bored with the useless answers, one of the group went crazy, using his axe to chop down and end his life on the spot. The death of this guy further increased the curiosity of the gangsters about the mysterious man named Tae-sik. Not stopping there, they decided to find Myungyu, the one who brought Tae-sik into this game, to question and interrogate him about the information related to Tae-sik. Tae-sik after causing chaos at the police station. He quickly found the phone that the gangsters had given him earlier. This phone would be a tool for him to find clues about those who caused Hyojong's death. He went to the phone and SIM card providers, where they often operated underground. With his fighting ability and scariness, in just a few minutes Tae-sik made the atmosphere here become tense. He did not hesitate to threaten and make them scared, forcing them to provide information. One of them trembled and knelt down, handing over the visit cards of the person who specializes in buying phones, claiming that this person is an organ trafficker, and each time he trades, he usually buys more than 20 phones. Having obtained important information, Tae-sik immediately set out to find this organ trafficker's hiding place. However, not long after, the police also received intelligence about his appearance. They quickly suspended all ongoing activities in the station, preparing to set out to hunt down Tae-sik, the person they were still trying to understand better. At a bustling nightclub, the organ trafficker was carrying out his depraved acts. He took advantage of the girls' carelessness to put sleeping pills in their drinks, to prepare for his cruel schemes. However, when he was about to carry out his intentions, a henchman called to report that there was an incident and asked him to escape from here, but their escape had not yet begun. Tae-sik had arrived a step earlier. He had bribed a man to impersonate a customer who needed to buy organs for his family. The leader of the trafficking line directly negotiated with a man. He did not know that this was a trap that had been set. When the exchange had not yet finished, Tae-sik appeared like a ghost. He immediately attacked his bodyguard with just one blow. Too surprised, the leader pulled out his knife to attack Tae-sik, but this was only a suicidal act. In the blink of an eye, Tae-sik stabbed the knife into one of his shoulders, then forced him to reveal Somi's location. But when Tae-sik was about to extract more information, another person in the group appeared. He felt confident with a gun in his hand and did not hesitate to rush into the tiger's den. He immediately fired indiscriminately without thinking about the consequences, but until the toilet door opened, he realized that he had shot the wrong customer. Right at that moment Tae-sik rushed in. They fought each other non-stop. Everything in the toilet was knocked down. Even the wall was affected by their strength. Suddenly Tae-sik's opponent snatched the gun and aimed it at him, but Tae-sik dodged in time, then responded with a powerful axe throw, hitting him. Although injured, he still did not give in. Like a warrior who had gone through many battles, he still stood firm. When the two were about to rush at each other again, a fellow quickly stopped, warning that the police were here. He also threw Tae-sik a phone to contact them. Taking the opportunity, they immediately ran away. Tae-sik tries to chase after them, but they get into their car and escape his reach. Only after getting into the car does he realize he's been shot in the side. Right after that, the organ traffickers call him through the phone they left behind. The leader, Mansuk, challenges him, announcing that Somi is being held captive and that they will raise her until she's old enough to sell her organs. Hearing these words, Tae-sik's anger surges, and he warns in a low voice that if they dare to touch a single hair on Somi's body, he won't let them off. To treat his wound, Tae-sik goes to an old friend. With this person's help, he removes the bullet from his body. Fortunately, it only hit the flesh and wasn't life-threatening. As soon as the wound is bandaged, Tae-sik wants to borrow a machine gun with a long magazine from his friend, determined to confront the kidnappers. But his friend advises against it, reminding him that he shouldn't risk his life in this situation. For Tae-sik, life has no meaning since his wife and child passed away. He'd rather do one good deed before leaving this world than live like a ghost. At the same time at the police station, Inspector Kim receives a video showing Somi withdrawing a large sum of money. For a child, such a large amount of money raises suspicion in the police's mind. They also captured the man Tae-sik hired to pose as an organ buyer. From this man they got Tae-sik's phone number. Immediately, Inspector Kim calls him and informs him that Somi has appeared recently. The little girl has been turned into their henchman by the kidnappers. Inspector Kim also announces that he will quickly find Tae-sik. However, Tae-sik only informs Inspector Kim that the ones who killed Somi's mother and took her organs are Mansuk and Jongsuk. Hearing these two names, Inspector Kim is not at all unfamiliar, as they were already on their blacklist when investigating the drug trafficking gang. As for Tae-sik, based on information from Inspector Kim, he carries weapons and wanders the streets to find information about the kidnappers. Luck smiles on him when he sees a claw machine arcade, where there are cars exactly like the one they used to stuff drugs in. However, the claw machine has a sign saying it's broken. Tae-sik knows for sure that this place is related to them, so he hides in a spot to observe. As expected, not long after, he sees a boy sneaking out. Tae-sik quickly follows and sees him bringing the bag to a place to hand over to a man. Then the boy continues to return to the claw machine, takes another car and delivers it to different locations. From the boy's actions, Tae-sik realizes that they have been using children to deliver goods, so the police can't possibly detect it. Meanwhile, Inspector Kim and his team have arrived at the airport, monitoring a cripple in a wheelchair. As soon as he gets off the plane, they immediately subdue and arrest him. Immediately, The entire wheelchair and the crutches he carries are smashed by Inspector Kim. Inside is full of drugs. With the presence of the police, the cripple miraculously recovers. He is one of Mansuk and Jongsuk. From what he confesses, the police also learn that this group not only traffics drugs but also traffics human organs. They use children as a means of delivery. When the children get older, they will be taken away to sell their organs. Somi, since the day she was captured by the old woman, has also been taken by them to deliver goods. She and the other children still believe that as long as they are obedient, they will be released to go home, without knowing that the road back home will never happen, only the road leading to the operating room to take organs. After a day of following the boy delivering goods, Tae-sik has grasped the movements of the organ traffickers, but when he is about to reach his target, he is discovered by the police, which also alarms the boy, causing them to send someone to bring him back, while Tae-sik has to escape from the police chase. He runs into a building but is blocked. In a forced situation, he risks jumping out of the window to escape. He quickly chases the human traffickers to their lair. Tae-sik has to witness the cruel scene when they exploit the children to exhaustion. When the children are exhausted, they will be thrown out, which makes him have a little hope, just hoping to save Somi out of this devil's den as soon as possible. However, when searching, he does not see the little girl anywhere. He thinks they have locked Somi in another place, but what he finds are only corpses that have been removed of their organs, including the corpse of Myungyu and the children. Tae-sik is extremely heartbroken to see the bodies of the children being dissected for organs, especially when he witnesses one of them preparing to inject anesthetic to dissect the little girl's organs. Anger rises in him, and so the first one is shot by him. Hearing the gunfire, the rest rush out to check and continue to be shot down by Tae-sik. The white-clad guy is Jongsuk. Tae-sik does not kill him but keeps him, because he is still of value. He will use him to force him to reveal the location where they are holding Somi. His brother is Mansuk, who is unloading goods with his henchmen when he receives a call from Tae-sik. Over the phone he does not say much, only informs Mansuk that in an hour, if he does not bring Somi to meet him, his brother's life will not be safe. Mansuk sees his brother in danger and he himself is threatened with anger. He warns Tae-sik that if he dares to touch his brother, he will gouge out Somi's eyes. Tae-sik knows that in this battle he may not be able to return, so he decides to play to the end with the organ traffickers. He uses an oil lamp that they light, ties one end of the rope with a bag of their drugs in another corner, then uses scissors to cut the pipe of the gas cylinder, releasing gas all over the room. Then he takes all the children there out. When Mansuk arrives is also when the bag of flour has run out. The lamp has fallen to the floor, creating a huge bomb. When it encounters gas, the explosion completely destroys their secret lair. Tae-sik and the children are safe at this time. In another development, Somi has been injected with anesthetic by one of Mansuk's henchmen. He will prepare to gouge out Somi's eyes. At this time Tae-sik is trying to find clues to save her from the criminals. He knows that time is running out and needs to act immediately. Finally, Tae-sik finds the place where Mansuk is with his henchmen. When he sees him coming to find Somi, Mansuk is very surprised and does not understand why a little girl of a dancer can make Tae-sik care so much. He does not know what relationship they have. Tae-sik only replies that she is his neighbor. Hearing that, Mansuk cannot contain but laugh loudly. He points to the glass jar in his hand and says that this is Somi's pupil. Seeing that, Tae-sik cannot contain his anger. At this moment he only wants to chop this evil man into 100 pieces. Mansuk has dozens of henchmen surrounding him, so he thinks that Tae-sik cannot do anything before falling down. But perhaps he has underestimated Tae-sik too much. Quick as lightning, Tae-sik pulls out the gun in his pocket and immediately takes the lives of several bodyguards around him. Mansuk sees this and runs outside, leaving the bodyguards to deal with Tae-sik. More than a dozen henchmen rush in to take Tae-sik's life, but they have bumped into the wrong opponent. The killer who met Tae-sik in the nightclub last time is also here, and only he is the one with the ability to surpass everyone. After a while of playing guns, Tae-sik switches to playing knives. One is cut off his wrist, the other is cut into the main vein. All quickly lie scattered on the floor dying. Tae-sik has made them pay the price for the crimes they have committed. After settling everything, Tae-sik approaches the jar containing Somi's eyes. Just about to pick it up, Mansuk's killer shoots it, which makes Tae-sik even more angry and heartbroken. When Tae-sik turns back, he sees Mansuk's killer has put down his gun. He wants a hand-to-hand fight. He does not hesitate to agree to rush into the battle. The killer pulls out a sharp knife with a curved blade, while Tae-sik holds a small knife in his hand. Both quickly show their close combat ability. No one gives in, but with superior ability, Tae-sik has cornered the killer and stabbed his knife into his chest. He officially takes the life of the last bodyguard of Mansuk. After escaping, Mansuk and another henchman are collecting money. They intend to flee from here, but before they can get into the car, the henchman is shot dead outside. Mansuk quickly speeds away, but the tires are shot out. When Tae-sik is about to take his life, he discovers that the car is bulletproof. Mansuk thinks he will not be killed and is still loud in the car. However, with the experience of a well-trained special agent, Tae-sik knows how to make the bulletproof car useless. He shoots continuously at one spot many times, causing the car window to be punctured. Mansuk intends to rush out from behind, but the bullet has shot straight into his arm. Then he calmly takes his life with a final bullet. When he has dealt with all of them, Tae-sik knows that this life has nothing to hold on to anymore. It is time for him to meet his wife and child with the little girl Somi. But when he raises his gun to his temple, the voice of the neighbor girl rises. It makes Tae-sik think that he is like being delusional. Somi's clear voice is like a glimmer of light that raises hope in him. It makes him have to stop and cannot perform his final action. When the little girl Somi speaks for the third time, Tae-sik knows that he did not hear wrong. In front of him is the little girl completely unharmed. Her eyes are still sparkling. It turns out that when they were about to take her life, the killer was concerned by Somi with a personal bandage on her forehead. It awakened the human part in him, before his accomplice gouged out her eyes. He acted, and the two eyes in the glass jar are not Somi's but of his own accomplice. After so many events, the two uncle and nephew hug each other tightly. Tae-sik's lonely and hurt heart has been warmed by Somi's innocence and pitifulness. The lonely and pitiful little girl has also been moved by Tae-sik. At the end of the film, Tae-sik takes Somi to the bookstore to buy everything she needs for school. Today he wants to do something good for her before having to chew on fat for what he has just caused. The sincere feelings between the two uncle and nephew have moved all the police present there. Witnessing a moment full of humanity and love between tragedy and pain, that image is not only the end of Tae-sik's journey, but also the beginning of a new life full of hope for Somi. The video here has also ended. Leave one like and one subscribe to not miss the latest videos. Goodbye and see you again.